Come on. Come on. Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. Welcome back to Ninja Turtles Revisited. Why do I feel like I'm trying to straighten it out. This floor is not the best. Alright, it's just like I don't know. So after the release of Teenage Ninja Turtles in 1990, they of course wanted a sequel. So badly that they started shooting it 6 months later. Yeah. And so of course you're gonna get a sequel. You want to make things bigger and better. Except they weren't allowed to. You see, censorship changed. Apparently there are a lot of parents who complained about the violence in the first one. To those parents, I say, shut up. That's the point, right? There are other films worse than Ninja Turtles, than the violence. Oh, Raphael says damn 3 times. It's PG. It's a PG movie, which means parental guidance. 3 dams and a little bit of karate is not cause for you to freak out. That's perfectly PG. Right? It's not like Casey was bending April over the garbage truck. No, they shared a kiss at the end of the movie. Come on. But no, they was complaining about the violence and other production problems. Well, we'll get into it as we go along. But yes, so no violence. And the UK was really no. They replaced Michelangelo's nunchaku at the beginning of this movie with sausages, and they still complained. Oh, the kids are gonna take sausages and use them. Okay. What normal home has those kind of sausage leaves just hanging around? Do you either get the ones that are already cut off? Who has those ones that are like that? They're like nunchucks. Come on. Just stop whining about it. But there were significant changes. Casey Jones was not allowed to be in this film because the character was too violent, apparently, and they were worried the mask was too Jason-like. I'll tell you right now, it is nothing like Jason Voorhees' hockey mask. Nothing at all. It is completely different than Jason Voorhees' hockey mask, but whatever. Casey's gone. They bring him back in the third one. He doesn't do anything. In his place is a character named Keno, played by Ernie Reyes Jr., because they liked him. You know, they liked him as a stunt performer for Donatello in the first one, so they thought, let's just write an apart for him. And unlike, what's his name? Unlike the inclusion of Gus Gorman in Superman 3, Richard Pryor, there we go, I actually like this character. He's different than Casey. He kind of reminded me of Zack, the fifth turtle. See, Zack was this kid that the turtles found and made him an honorary turtle. Kind of reminded me of that. Judith Hoag was out this April because she was complaining about the violence in the first one and was very hard to work with, I guess. And she didn't like that they permed her hair. So Paige Turco replaced her. And no offense to Judith Hoag, but I kind of like Paige Turco better. Although, when Casey does come back in the third one, there's like no chemistry between them at all. They didn't even try anything with it, you know? I don't know. Another big change was that Raphael's voice changed. Is no longer. That apparently Josh Pais was the voice. I thought he was the in-suit performer. I don't know. But also, Corey Feldman was gone. He's no longer doing the voice. It's someone else. And he does a fine job. It's fine. But everything else, Brian Toshi, Robbie Rist, Kevin Clash, they all came back. James Saito, who played the Shredder, was replaced with Francois Cho, who you may know as the Dharma The guy in the Dharma video is on Lost. Hello, my name is Pierre Cheng. Yeah, that guy. Pierre, not PR. Pierre Cheng. I'm Pierre Cheng. That guy. He's the Shredder. So, taking place sometime not too far after, because the Turtles are still living with April because they don't have a place to live, and the Shredder comes back miraculously fast here. Yeah. He's also more purplish. He's a little bit red in the last one, reddish, pinkish. Now he's purplish. He survived. Yeah. There's also... So we start with a montage of people eating pizza. And I always wanted this giant ass pieces of pizza. I want it. I just do it. The pizza hanging off and the goop. Yes. We meet Kino, who's our point of view character here, as he goes to deliver pizza to who else? April O'Neil. But in doing so, he happens to see a group of random thugs, not the Foot, just random thugs trying to rob this department store, and decides to try to fight them. He does fight off a few, remarking, "Did I mention I know martial arts?" But then more show up, and the Turtles show up and start fighting them. Okay, so I thought about this when I was watching it, and I went, wait, wasn't the whole thing, even at the end of this movie, Splinter asks, "Were you seeing?" Wasn't the whole thing in the first one that they couldn't be seen? And they're just beating up a bunch of these guys in bright light in the middle of a department store, where I'm sure there's cameras somewhere. It's not 91, maybe not, but yeah. And they don't use their weapons. They use a bunch of stuff in the department store, which probably didn't sit well with the parents. Oh, you may take any object and hit someone with it. But you just get the stick out of your ass, please. The 80s, early 90s was fine, and then all of a sudden, shit got real. Parents just, whatever. But, yeah, so Kino gets stuffed in the trash can, but he gets out, and then the Turtles they beat up all the bad guys, and the Turtles take the pizza. They pay for it, though. So, they go back, and they talk about what happened to Shredder, so he can reinform the audience, and then Splinter's like, "Where did you go? What are you doing?" Hey, he doesn't really ask about it. Yeah, so April comes back. Well, April's already there, and they're paying their slops, and yeah. Now there's a punishment that Splinter has that wasn't in the first one, where he makes them do backflips. Wasn't in the first, but now you gotta do it because it's funny, right? I guess. We see the Shredder survived. Yes, and he returns to what's left of the Foot. And so their whole thing is they can't return back to their sewer den because the Foot knows where they are. I'm assuming a lot of them were either arrested or left the Foot because they realized it was bullshit. But there's still some left. And they show they're recruiting new members. So the likelihood of those knowing where things... I mean, Tatsu probably knows where it is, but I'm just saying. Now they gotta find a new place to go. So, yeah. That's the thing. You know, in this market, it's a good subterranean training. They play football, Statue of Liberty play with the pizza, touchdown. Yeah. No. But, yeah, this is the one that has the... Hey, can you chew louder? Get your head out of this one. They're watching a news report. April's talking about this research company called TGRI. TCRI in the comics and the TV shows, but TGRI, I don't know, because TGIF was a thing. I don't know. And they discover, and Splinter seems a little bit off-put watching this news report, and later reveals that it was a TGRI canister that had the ooze. So, to find the secret of the ooze, which there's really nothing to it in this, because the original idea was different, we'll get to it. But we also meet, in this interview, Professor Jordan Perry. Now, there's a few characters in here that should have been other characters. I think, first and foremost, Professor Jordan Perry. I mean, Casey Jones could have been Kino, but Kino's a different character. Professor Jordan Perry could have been Baxter Stockman. You could have rewritten it as Baxter Stockman works for TGRI. and the Shredder seeks him out and forces him to work for him. It's essentially he fulfills that for most of the film after Shredder kidnaps him and takes the canister. Nah. Apparently they had other plans for Professor Perry, who is, by the way, played by the late great David Warner. Apparently at the end of the original script he was going to reveal he is an Utrom, which mainstream audiences of the TV series hadn't been introduced to yet. The Utroms themselves, the kids at that point would probably said, it's Krang, because that's all we knew. But the Utroms later would be introduced in a 2003 series and later 2012. But here, unless you read the comics, you didn't know what the Utrom were. Kids back then would go, it's Krang, it's Krang. That's really what they would have said. But that was dropped, deeming it probably too expensive to do. They also had the idea to bring in Baxter Stockman and the Mousers, but also deemed that too expensive. Yeah. So, after some shenanigans, the turtles lose the Ooze, and Kino ends up finding out that the turtles are real after he finds out where the turtles are. He tracks them to April's place, and and they tell him the truth about who they are, But realizing the foot is back, they realize they have to find a new place. Raphael, of course, takes off on them, and the other three go to find a new place to live, which is like a old subway station of sorts. So it's nice, and it's used in this 3, and for some reason in Next Mutation, even though the continuity of that show makes no sense with the movies, they also have it in TMNT, which is also the continuity doesn't make any sense. I don't know. We'll get to that one eventually, I guess. But, so, even though he was told not to, Raphael takes Kino to pretend to sign up for the foot, and they get caught. And that's when Raphael realizes that the Shredder is still alive and he gets kidnapped. Meanwhile, back with the turtles. But also, during all this, Shredder has Professor Perry create 2 new mutant creatures. Bebop and What? No. Toka and Razar. Or Razar. Yeah, why isn't Bebop and Rocksteady? Well, for years, many fans speculated that they just didn't want to use them, or they can't be too violent. These guys are more violent than those. No one knew. But more recently, in recent years, it's been revealed that Eastman and Laird completely denied the use of Bebop and Rocksteady. Did not want them anywhere in the movies. They didn't even want the Shredder to come back, but they wanted to rinse and repeat that instead of bringing in other villains. No. So, yeah. But Bebop and Rocksteady, not allowed. And we had to wait till 2016. 2016 to get Bebop and Rocksteady on the screen. In live action, sort of. So, no. Jim Henson Creature Shop did come back to do the effects, and there is a in memoriam for Jim Henson, who passed away shortly after the first film. And this is the last one that Jim Henson Creature Shop would do. Unfortunately, I don't mind the third one, but the suits are crap. I mean, Splinter is basically just a top half in that. He's not even Kevin Clash because they couldn't get the Jim Henson to come back. So, anyway. So Shredder asks Raphael, so the other 3 have to go and help him, and it's a trap to get Toka and Razar, and they're super strong, so the turtles are forced to retreat, and I don't know what to do. They do rescue Professor Perry, though, and he tells them that he purposely made them stupid and like babies so that Shredder wouldn't right away be able to conquer, but they're still causing problems, attacking parks and whatnot. So, April's new cameraman reveals he is a foot soldier, which is already shown to the audience I hate it when I do that. Don't show the audience before you reveal the twist. It's it's not really a big twist. They introduce this cameraman, and then right away he walks off to get this giant sunflower. Show it to the Shredder. So he's a member of the Foot. So yeah, and then it's revealed to April, and he says, apparently he says that to send the turtles out, or they'll send out Toga and Rossar again, and this time it'll be in Central Park. So yeah. Kino is also sort of being trained by Splinter, but he's trying to meditate, but he has no patience. None at all. None at all. Yeah. So, the Turtles and Kino and Professor Perry come up with this potion of sorts, this elixir, this stuff that will revert them back to being a gray fox and a snapping turtle. So, yeah. But they have to digest it. So they solidify it in ice cubes and put it inside donuts, which works, but then because we need a fight scene, for all intents and purposes, they could just keep eating these and turn into that and then have a fight scene with the Shredder. But because we have a fight scene with the In-Suit Performer stuff, yeah, they find it almost right away. They do eat one. I think the turtle eats two. But Rossar finds one and it becomes a fight. All the way to a party where Vanilla Ice is there doing stuff. I do like that this guy hosting the party is like, what is this? I didn't hire extras. Call the cops. And then later the guy's like, here's the cops. The cops, what are you doing? What do you mean the cops? They love them. It's all about making money, I guess. We got to have money. But yeah. So we get the ninja rap, which I kind of like. Ninja, ninja, rap, ninja. Go ninja, go ninja, go. Go ninja, go ninja, go. So the turtles are trying to fight off Toga and Rossar while they're around people. And right away, if you know the last one, you're like, why would they do this? Why would they notably lure them to a place with people? It makes no sense. They want to lead them away from people. But we gotta have fun stuff. And I don't know where on the top of his head, without practicing, Vanilla Ice comes up with a ninja rap. Because of course he does. And, well, the Toga and Rossar are burping, which is, in their words, retarding the effects of the serum stuff that they put in. So they have to reintroduce CO2, that's oxygen, by the way, into the system. So they use a fire extinguisher, which is CO2, of course, and it works. Turn them back into babies. Turn them back into I like that. They're babies. They're babies. They may be infants, but I'm sure they can be so used to you. They're stupid. This isn't like they're stupid. We're not done yet, though. They fight off a few members of the Foot, and then Shredder shows up, grabs some random girl, and says he's going to turn her with the ooze. Okay. Kino, having had enough time waiting, leaves where the turtles' place of living, home, and in record time reaches where they are, somehow knows where they are, is able to get there, and jump spin kicks the thing out of his hand, and then they use reverb to blow Shredder out the building. Yeah. Shredder goes out like the bitch again, but it's a little bit worse. Because it gets cool, and then it goes, oh, they didn't have a budget, did they? So, or they either didn't have a budget, or they weren't allowed to do violence, so they had to do it this way. I don't know. It's custom. Kino says goodbye for the rest of the movie. Seriously, he's gone for the rest of the movie now. But the turtles go out to look for Shredder, and he's gone. And hey, cowabunga. But no, Shredder had drank the entire thing of ooze, and is now Super Shredder, and now played by Kevin Nash, who was not the big sexy Kevin Nash Diesel superstar he was now. He is now. No, he was Oz. Yes. So he's in this suit. And he just destroys the dock, which collapses on top of him, but the turtles survive because they can go in the water, because I love being a turtle. And that's how the Shredder is defeated, and canonically dead. Yes, because we never see him again. Although I do have a theory on some things about the third one. We'll get there when we get there. But yes, Shredder is now canonically dead. What happened to Tatsu? I don't know. He could have shown up. In my head, I invented like 3 or 4 more sequels afterwards. Where it's like one of them is like part 4 was Return of the Foot, and Tatsu was the main villain. But also a post credit or a teaser would have revealed that Shredder was saved by Krang and is in Dimension X. Setting that up, Return of the Shredder is part 5. Which would also introduce Baxter Stockman. By the end of that, he would have been hit with the ooze, turning into a fly. The 5th film will not only have Baxter Stockman as a fly, but introduce the Rat King, And yeah, I had more going in my head, but it was just stuff I drew pictures of. I drew the VHS box art for each one, But yeah, that's how it goes out, and then they go back to the turtle cave, for lack of a better term. April is also no longer in the movie. Well, she does come back. She does thank the turtles by name. And Splinter's there watching and going, ugh. But she thanked Raphael in the first one, so whatever. They come in, and then Splinter asks, "Well, you seen?" I'm like, really? Now you care? They did a whole thing at the opening of the film, and now you care. Sure. I said, no. But then he shows the newspaper, and he's like, 10 backflip now. Oh, and one more thing. Go ninja, go! I made another funny. So, yeah, they copied and pasted that. But, the soundtrack, okay? It's still John DePrez doing the music. It's a little bit... I do like Toka and Razlar's theme. Bum, 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 or whatever it goes. It's pretty cool. You get kind of that reprisal of the theme. It's a little bit... at the opening with the pizza people eating all the pizza and stuff. One line that Kino says at the beginning, when he comes out of the pizza place and goes to get on the... First of all, he's like, O'Neill again? Should be charging her wholesale. But then he comes out and he goes to get on his bike, and he's like, which one of you ladies is riding with me tonight? They're like, you wish. He's like, yeah, but when I do, I wish for something dinner. Both of those ladies were fine. I mean, it'll be my mother now, but like, at the time too, even. Neither of them were fat, so I don't get that line. I also like the exchange where Raphael and Leonardo are arguing. I can't remember what it was, but like, they're arguing. Leonardo says something, and Donatello goes, he's right. Raphael says something, and he goes, he's right. And then there's another argument, he goes, they're both right. I do like that. Despite it not being Corey Feldman, he does do a good job. So, to show the contrast in generations, my brother and I are 11 years apart. I was born in 87, he was born in 98. So, yeah. The first one has always been my favorite, but his was always the second one. And I can see that. It's a little more goofy, And he always wanted to watch that one. So, yeah, I can see that. It's a generational. My generation was very much into the violence. We didn't care. But then his generation had been so dumbed down by these parents in no violence that he was fine with it. So, it's a generation. I don't know, but I will give it a pretty good. I definitely enjoy this movie. I think it's fine. I think it's pretty good. I think it works for what they're trying to do. Took some things out. Now that I know that Utrams could have been involved, that would have been cool, but I don't know. It would have been like an animatronic Utram. And again, the kids watching would have went, that's Krang! Because it would have made sense. And I don't know if going the Utrom route would have worked, or just make it Krang, which would have, went for audiences, kids at that time, who, if they didn't read the comics, they wouldn't know what Utroms were. They'd just say it's Krang. But, yeah. So what are your thoughts on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze? The Secret of the Ooze is that it was from space, and the Utroms brought it. But then they don't even go. All they say is that the ooze came from TGRI, but they don't explain what it is, because whatever secret, I don't know. But anyway, thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.